Alright guys, so this is going to be the new format for the daily Outlook video. It's going to be pre-recorded so I can go through it quickly instead of a live stream that's going to be kind of drawn out. People don't have time to watch that, so this is going to be a little quicker. It's going to go top down from the highest time frames down to the lowest. Give you an idea of where support and resistances are, possible scenarios in a short and condensed manner. And then that will be posted into the Discord. So if you're not part of this Discord, this is the Cryptonauts Discord. This is the Discord I'm a part of, along with two other programmers that I've been working with for a while now. One of the programmers actually has an automated swing trading strategy that alerts into here from a TradingView script. So that actually alerts signals into here. And then I have my part, Crypt Trader Trading Academy, where I have a chat room where we can all talk. The daily Outlook video, which is what I'm doing right now. Educational strategies, which I'll click in here. It's where I'll post like strategies, like setups that I look for and kind of the rationale behind looking for those. So I plan on posting more of those. There's only one right now. Basic trading tutorials, which I plan to do more of. I want to do some basic trading tutorials like just simple candlestick formation, risk management, basics of Elliott wave, stuff like that. A lot of the things that I use, I would like to do basic trading tutorials on. Live trade examples, this is where I'll post the setups that I'm taking during the day for anybody that wants to see. And so all that will be accessed in here. So if you want to join the Cryptonauts Discord, follow the Discord link in the description of this video. And so this is going to be the first daily Outlook video format here. So we're going to start on the monthly time frame, and what we're doing is just trying to find support resistance regions on the highest time frames, and we go down to the lower. So first off, we have a support right here, which we can call that monthly support. Okay, so that was the previous monthly close high back here in 2019. So that's going to be our monthly support. And we have monthly resistance up here, and we'll make that red. And so this video is going to be a little bit longer than the future ones, just because I want to go through and do these high time frames. So monthly resistance. Okay, I guess I need to change the color of that text as well. So monthly support, monthly resistance, we're just kind of hovering in between, and the monthly candle so far looks neutral. We're in an uptrend, so you would expect that we would have continuation here if the candle was to close like this in 10-11 days by the end of this month. So now we'll go down to the weekly, and the weekly is painting a little different picture because we're getting a little weakness here. This weekly candle is looking red, so if we do close like this on Sunday, then it would open up the possibility we could have a move back down to monthly support here around 10,800. And so now let's put some weekly support levels on here. So if you notice, there's weekly resistance right here, and right here. You see those weekly closes that close there, and close there? Well, if we just pull off from there, because that's roughly about the same area, so that's going to be support right there. So we can call that weekly support. Make it green. And so now we have a weekly support level, which if you noticed, this weekly candle actually came down and wicked off of right here, and we got a little bounce so far. So that's the level we're looking at on the weekly. And then the weekly resistance is roughly the same as the monthly resistance, because we're right at the bottom of that cluster of weekly candles that was support. It broke down, became resistance on that retest, and so we're looking at roughly the same resistance as the monthly there on the weekly time frame. One other thing I want to put on here is the Fib Retrace. You know, everybody that's been watching me knows I likes to use the Fib Retrace because it gets respected very well. And so in this bear market, we had the retracement back up to the 618 and that monthly resistance before we rejected back down. Now we're above the 0.5, which we had these weekly closes on. We had the wick up to that 618, but the weekly closes on the 0.5. So now that we've got above that 0.5 on a weekly closing basis here, and these weekly closes have gotten above this resistance, so that's why it was support. you would expect for us to gather support here, ideally on this weekly support and 0.5, and we would be able to head up to this 618 again to retest that monthly resistance and 618 of the total bear market correction. And so what I'll do is just take this. Actually, I'm just gonna, what we'll do is we'll put a resistance of a region of resistance right here, so I can take this Fib Retrace off so it doesn't clutter the chart. So we know that from this 618 to that monthly resistance that we put on there, we should have some kind of reaction. So now I can take that Fib Retrace off so we're not cluttering the chart, and we'll go down to an even lower time frame here. Let's go down to the daily now. And so on the daily time frame, you can see the weekly support still is where we caught this support and had a little bit of a reaction so far. And so now we can start putting a little bit of structure on this, and that's what I'd like to look at here. You know, whenever you're starting to grind up, you start to form some kind of structure, and so far it looks like we're doing something like this structure wise. And so this is what I'm interested in seeing, if we're going to get some kind of rising wedge pattern that we eventually break out of. We could end up with something like this, where we end up coming out of here bullishly. And if we do that, then we would be looking for this resistance area right here for a reaction. The other option is, if you watched my video yesterday, if I take this structure off, and so far you can see on the daily time frame it's looking nice. If this daily candle closes green like this, it would show that we would have at least strength back up to this resistance right here. And that was the resistance that I was showing in yesterday's video. You see how we hit it twice there, we broke through, had a fake out, so I would expect a challenge of that resistance again, and we'll either go down or we'll break through. And so that's the options that I'm looking at right now. So I'm going to go down to a little bit lower time frame here so we can get a little bit more granularity. And so you can see this weekly support just held perfectly right here for that bounce. And if you actually pull a fib on that as well, we can go from the bottom to the top here on this most recent swing before it made that high, and we came down, you can see, right to the 618, and it wicked down almost to that weekly support, and we've gotten the reaction so far. And so currently what I'm looking for is, like I said, a move up to this resistance again. And the thing is about this move, if we come in here and pull another fib from the top down, so from this rejection down to the low, what you would expect is this 0.5 to 618 to hold this retracement, and that would just happen to line up with this prior resistance right here. And so I'm very interested in a short. If you've been in the Discord, you've seen me post this setup where I'm interested in a short here, and I would most likely be targeting the pivot low right here or the negative 236. I think the negative 236 is a very good possibility, but we also have to keep in mind the structure, which I wasn't looking at yesterday, that has held. So we have somewhat of this ascending wedge pattern playing out. So if it does break down, if we do get resistance and break down, then a lot of people that might be following this pattern right here could force this lower, and we could actually get to monthly support down here back to where previous range low is on this correction. And so those are some things to keep in mind. I definitely think short is going to be the play whenever we get a move up to here around 12,000 to 12,150. That's certainly what I'm watching for, and I plan to share my setup in the live trade examples in the Discord whenever that approaches. But that is currently what I'm looking for. And on the flip side of this, you know, this doesn't have to be a rising wedge pattern. You know, obviously this could be a rising wedge pattern and we still show strength here and we get above that resistance again. And once we break out of rising wedge patterns, especially in a running market where you have a trend, those are very, very bullish patterns. If this plays out and we were to break this resistance up here, very, very bullish. They're usually quite explosive and they can move very fast. So I would keep my eye on that as well as this plays out. But I'm going to take this pattern off and I'm going to look at the other pattern real quick that I was looking at yesterday. So if I go back over here, I already have it drawn up here. And so the purpose of this pattern, so you can see we're looking at the same structure here. I'm looking at Elliott wave here. So we have what would be called a running flat. So, you know, I had this drawn like this in the other chart where we could have a rising wedge pattern. But if it does get resistance and break down here and we hold this range low, you know, that pattern is invalidated. We could still have a flat pattern where you have this channel, and what it is an A, B, C correction. An Elliott wave, that would be considered a running flat, where the B wave makes a higher high but it can't sustain, and then you get a 5-wave move down for a C, and it creates this channel like this where you get support and you come out of that bullishly. And so that's another option that we could see right here. But either way, I'm looking for resistance here, and the next play is a short out of here. Until we reach that, I'll probably just be doing some kind of scalping, you know, trying to pick up small moves until we reach that swing trade entry right there for a short. And I'll show you an example of this right here back in 2019. So in 2019 we had almost the exact same structure. If I zoom in right here, you see how we have this parabolic move up. We come down sharply, we get an A, B, C that makes the overall bigger A, B. So if you look at that green there, A, B, C, we have 5 waves down right here. And so we would be right here right now, waiting for the retrace up and then another few moves down to get support for the C wave, and you end up with this channel and then a continuation of trend. So it's no different than where we are right now. Very similar Elliott wave pattern that could potentially play out here. So like I said, we're right here, we're waiting for the retrace, we get some consolidation and like a grinding 5-wave move down. That would be somewhat of a diagonal if you're familiar with Elliott wave, and we would gather support and be able to move up to our resistance. And I'll go back to the chart here, and so what we'd be looking for is the fib pull from that low to that high. If I put that on there, what we'd be looking for is a range right here from the 618 down to the 786 to hold as support in this scenario that we top out here and head down. And so I'd be looking for that as support. Obviously we have the monthly support here, but I wouldn't want to see the 786 break. Ideally the 786 would hold and we don't reach the monthly support. If this count is going to play out as a running flat, I would want it to look like this, to where this green region right here holds, and then we would end up with something that looks like this that I showed in the previous chart. And we come out of that and then we head up to our target up here at monthly resistance and the 0618 of the overall bear market. And so this is currently what I would be looking for, and this is what I'm playing. Looking for a short here, I'd be looking for a long here, and that's ultimately what I'm going to be playing. So I hope this was informative. Stay tuned. I'm going to try to make one of these probably, depending on the price action and what's going on that day. It won't be as in detail as this. I'll probably just go into these smaller time frames and that's it. But I wanted to have this as a base so people understand where I'm getting my ideas from on these higher time frames for monthly and weekly support resistance. So I'll see you guys next time, and if you haven't joined the Discord, follow the link in the description of this video. Alright guys, I'll see you next time.